it says you have started recording. Yes, it does.
Very good. Very good. So, as secretary of the committee, I've been asked to at least start us off, even maybe lead the meeting. So let me start with the opening statement. Welcome to the January 26, 2022 meeting of the Community Relations Committee. We would like to thank Easthampton Media for posting our recordings on YouTube. All past meetings of the CRC can be found on Easthampton Media's YouTube account for viewing at any time. All committee members and participants in this meeting are gathered remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic as permitted by Chapter 20 of the Massachusetts Acts of 2021 entitled An Act Extending Certain COVID-19 Measures Adopted During the State of Emergency and signed into law on June 16, 2021 by Governor Baker. For the benefit of those of you who are joining us from the community, I might say, and or listening in on the recording, I'd like to start this meeting by sharing our committee's mission statement. Our mission is to promote positive relations throughout Easthampton's diverse population. We will work to build a sense of inclusion, community, and pride where community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. And now, as I was mentioning earlier, before going on to the roll call, I would like to briefly refer to item number 6 on the agenda. I'd like to share 2 of the announcements right now and any others later. First of all, I had an email from City Clerk Barbara LaBombard today confirming 2 things. One, the appointment of Dr. Eben Afari-Kumar to the committee, but also letting us know that the city clerk has received a notification of the resignation of Gabriella Stevenson. I also received email from Gabby Stevenson writing to inform us that she's no longer able to serve on the CRC due to schedule changes related to her job. So I felt that those 2 were important to announce prior to the roll call because the roll call will include the members that we now have. So if you can each say here as I say your name. Emily Britton.
Here.
Margaret Kirstein.
Here.
Jan Norman, I don't see. Myra Oyedemi.
Here.
Ebenezer Afari-Kumar.
Here.
And I'm Rebecca Passa, and I'm here. Thank you very much. Okay. So the next item is the approval of minutes. I have sent out minutes for 2 meetings, the first one being December 28th, 2021. And my question would be, if someone would like to make a motion about their approval, we can then discuss if necessary.
I motion to approve those.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I can second that.
Thank you. Any discussion about the minutes of December 28, 2021? If not, I'll go ahead and take a vote. So, Emily.
Yes, I approve.
You approve. Okay. Margaret.
I approve.
Myra.
Yes, I approve.
Dr. Eben.
Yes, I wasn't here, but reading through it, I approve.
Thank you.
Actually,
And
yeah, don't you think, Rebecca, you should just say deferred because he wasn't here?
well, I invited him to abstain, but
Yes.
these minutes are recorded, and I don't know if he's been. So I leave that to him. I leave that choice to him. If you'd like to approve, that's fine with me, and I approve. So that would be unanimous in favor of the minutes of December 28th. Now I'd like to turn to the minutes of our work session of January 11th, 2022. Similarly, any motion?
Sure. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the work session of January 11th, 2022.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay. Emily.
I know, I'm like reading them really fast. I failed to read these. I read the previous ones.
So I'm sorry for any pressure.
Terrible.
Do you want to abstain?
I'll just abstain. Yeah.
Up to
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
That's up to you. Margaret.
I'll approve.
Okay. Myra.
Yes, I approve.
Dr. Eben.
Yes, just like the previous one. I wasn't here, but I believe you are for the cause of the community, so I approve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I approve as well. So that passes with, what do we have? 4 in favor and 1 abstention.
Well, this is not a CRC issue, but whenever I try to open another window, let's say to read the minutes again, I can't see any of you, and my screen is just that. But I could see Emily looking on her computer. So you can see both. You can see us.
No, I don't see you while I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Oh, but I guess your camera in your computer is still showing us your image.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing I learned from the pandemic was a split screen, but usually in Google, you may have to open it, this meeting in a whole new window in order to see both.
Okay, well.
Yeah. I'm going to.
In about 3 years, I'll figure that out.
I'm going to admit to having a fairly large screen, and so I just I don't maximize anything. That way, I can shrink where I'm seeing you and look. So when I read that statement, I'm looking here and I'm looking there, but
Okay.
that's trying to fit everything on the same screen.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth. Okay, thank you. So the next item on our agenda is election of officers. Now, we discussed some nominees at our work session. In particular, there is a nomination of Emily Britton and Myra Oidemi to serve as co-chairs of the committee.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to know if there would be a motion in favor or any discussion.
I'll submit a motion in favor of that.
Okay. So a motion in favor of Emily and Myra as co-chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a second?
Am
I'll tell you what, if none of you, I'll second it.
Okay,
I'm
you
happy to second that.
Eben can second it too.
Yeah, yes, well, I don't know if Eben would like to second that or if you feel you know us well enough yet.
Maybe I will give that opportunity to either Myra or Emily to second, since I'm quite new. However, since you guys have been on the committee, I know they are capable of steering the affairs going forward. So at least I support whatever, approval by Myra or Emily, and that's it.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about my second on the motion? Does that sound like a plan?
That's a good plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Rebecca.
Okay. So now I'd like this vote is in favor of voting Emily and Myra in as co-chairs. Emily, your vote.
Yes.
Margaret.
Yes.
Myra.
Yes.
Dr. Eben, I just want to call
Yes.
him that out of respect.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm in favor of as well. So that passes unanimously. Now, I should also say, if you want to take over the meeting, just let me know. I have an email that kind of says, would I keep going? But I don't think we really discussed too much the role of secretary, although I've had lots of warm fuzzies from all of you, and I really appreciate that. But because it's another year, we should vote for that office as well.
Right.
Yes.
So can I?
I'm sorry, was that? Go ahead.
Do you need a motion about that?
I do, and I wasn't sure if that's what I just had from Margaret.
Oh,
No. I was just nodding my head a lot.
Oh, okay, you were nodding your head. So do I have a motion then?
I'd like to make a motion for the nomination of Rebecca Praza as the CRC Committee Secretary for this term.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second it. Oh,
Okay.
Margaret was freezing. Like,
Oh, I think I heard Emily first. I
That's good.
don't know. Is that all right? Okay. All right. So, Emily, your vote.
yes,
Margaret,
Yes.
yes.
Myra,
Yes.
Dr. Eben.
Yes.
I think I'll abstain. I'm not much for voting for myself, but I appreciate that. But that passes with one abstention.
Every vote counts, you know that.
Yeah.
Well, let's not take it as a lack of confidence. It's just, but thank you. I'm pleased to serve in that capacity.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. I love that, Myra. Thank you very much. Okay, next on the...
I love all the photos.
What photos?
The one that...
Well, you know what's happening? It says my internet is unstable, and so you all, I don't know if you can hear me, but you all have your photos. Emily does, Myra has it, Eben. So anyway, I think that's when I'm frozen, and then you all change into some other.
Huh.
You have a photo.
What
Emily, do you
photo
have
is mine? What photo is mine?
I don't know. It's in a circle.
Let's see
Everybody's
now.
photos are in
Oh,
circles. And you, Rebecca, have you have a straw hat on, Myra.
Oh.
Rebecca has Community Relations Committee button.
Right.
I don't know.
Yes, I just
Okay.
I turned my video off to look. I have the logo.
That may be our new button, right,
Yeah.
Myra?
Yeah,
I
I hope
did.
so.
That was fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, right after election of officers, we have, I purposely put this in advance of public speak, considering our policy relative to public speak. And so Dr. Eben is brand new. We might want to help with onboarding, but in these meetings, the public has the opportunity to talk to the committee if they join us. I don't see anybody here, but we call it public speak. So I think you might have seen in my email, I was looking for, kind of what's the law about public speak? And I think that the co-chairs, you really have the prerogative to allow people to speak or not speak. And you would have the prerogative to set a time frame, whether it's for a particular issue or whether it's broader. I think that you already have some broad powers to adapt that as necessary for any given situation. What I noticed in my research was a community having a policy about that if somebody needed to share something that was electronic, to let us know in advance, because, without a pandemic, one thing is, do we even have the tech to play it? And, something about an approval process there. So it's pretty straightforward that we've generally let the public show up, whether it's in person or online here, and speak for however many minutes that the chair allows. And I don't want to curtail those prerogatives of the chair, but what we might want to consider is and even the public sharing, it could be in writing. It could be that they write to us and we usually share that as part of correspondence, although we could consider that as public speak too. But so, like, what are our rules? How much in advance do we need, let's say, a recording? And if somebody submits a recording, an audio or video, should we require that? What we might want to require is that they also attend the meeting in order to share that. I think the situation we faced in the past, so Dr. Eben, quite a long time ago, there's just one member of the community who wanted to share a video but not attend the meeting. And that means that we couldn't ask questions. I mean, we may or may not want to ask questions, right? So we may, so I'm thinking that might be a part of a policy to be considered. And maybe what I don't know if you'd like to speak about it here. I also think the co-chairs could speak about that together as well.
Right. But I also think for Eben as well, that what we've been doing now is that during public speak, people speak, and I think we've had kind of a 3-minute time limit, although I don't think it's ever had to be used or anything. But that we don't comment or respond. There's not dialogue then. It's just they say what they have to say. We say thank you very much, or the chairs say thank you very much. And we can put that issue on the agenda for the next meeting. But there's not an exchange. And we've had input from other people, or it's been suggested that we potentially have an exchange between committee members and that person who's doing public speak. I'm of mixed feelings about that. I think we can have some discussion about that if we want to have exchanges.
Right. My feeling was actually this probably. Okay, I'm not muted. My feeling about it was it probably requires a little like deeper discussion, and I thought this might be good territory for for it to be written, so that it can be passed on to people that are joining or being onboarded as something that could be an undertaking of the bylaws subcommittee whenever that gets underway, if it hasn't. But my immediate thoughts, at least around the video, is that if we intend to use it, we may decide to read it as a transcript and give it a time limit, like we would someone that would be speaking. That is typically 3 minutes. So that was just one thought to share. But as far as the back and forth, I guess it depends on the situation. But for the most part,
hey, Jan.
We have a full committee now. Jan, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Ebenezer Aparukuma,
Hi.
our new member.
Yeah.
And this is Jan Norman, who is our 6th member.
Oh, hi, Norman. Nice meeting you.
So
All right.
we were...
Yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you, Jan. Not yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I good meeting you, Ivan. And I just got out of a school training, and then I'm like trying to find this link. I finally got here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we were on number 5 on the agenda, which is policy about public speak. And Myra was sharing a thought. I also saw Dr. Eben's hand, so it might be that he wants to say something after Myra. So do you remember what you were saying? I think you were saying something about, that we should make a policy and add it to the bylaws. And
right, just so that we have it written, documented somewhere, so that it's a reference and it can be passed to, to new members joining, and also to refresh, and also that we can, refer to it if there's a matter of someone thinking that we're not following our own rules or favoritism.
Right. Yeah.
But my only thought is having, in terms of the video, like I mentioned, maybe it becomes a transcript and then timing it. if it needs something that we deem is like part of correspondence. And in terms of wordsmithing the legalese, I think the bylaw committee might be the one of the best wheelhouses for it, Rebecca. And those are my only thoughts at the moment.
Okay. So I think I saw your hand, Dr. Evans.
Yes. Yeah. Can I come in? Okay. So what I was trying to ask is, what is the standard? The city council, how do they handle such situation, so that we can also learn from what the city council does? Then that will be this is the standard, so that individual will not feel they have been sidelined and they are trying to speak at our meeting. So what is the standard of the city council? Then we can follow the laid down regulations of the city council. I think that would be better, so that at least some people will say, yes, Becca is trying to discriminate against me from speaking at a meeting like this, but this is the standard of the city council. Then, so nobody can argue or speak against you, and we can also boldly defend you that this is the reason why you said X, Y, Z. So, I mean, that the city council's procedure should be known, and then we will follow accordingly. Thank you.
Okay. If you don't mind my speaking to that.
Yeah.
So I believe the city council often allows 3 minutes. I think that's where that comes from.
Okay.
And I think go ahead, Emily. Yeah.
But do they allow like an electronic message without somebody there?
Well, what I would say is that the individual in question who first reached out with an electronic message, I think, gave it to them, and then they gave it to, I do believe, because I believe it came either from mayor or from somebody outside of our committee, they gave it to us with no guidelines. So I don't think there's a guideline. Now, there's another thing I want to say about city council, but in my reading, what I was interested in this other municipality who says, if you have something electronic to be shared, we needed a certain number of days in advance. I don't know, 3 days, a week. And why? One is it's not just the technological showing of it, but it's also how relevant it is or how important. Let's say as we concern ourselves with human rights in this city, or as we get into policy down the road, maybe somebody has a video of something, like they want to show the potholes on the road, I don't even know, right? So it's something simple like that. We're showing it wouldn't be a big deal, and they're going to be present at the meeting. The thing about a video is you can see how long that is as well. And actually, this municipality indicated in their policy that they would need it in advance, and they would approve it case by case by case, depending on how relevant that video is to the subject being brought. And, so that they, because a person that just wants to talk to us, and if I'd like to require that they be present, so why record a video of yourself if you're going to be there anyway, right?
Right.
So I feel like that could deal with what happened in the past. That, that even if you record a video, we need to see you with it. Yeah, right. Because we might have questions, and that's a part of a policy thing. If we had questions, he wasn't there. And Margaret, I see you.
But that also speaks to what I said, where we haven't really asked anybody questions because we've been following the notion that we don't comment on what somebody has said or said to the committee. So. I think we have to figure out which side of that we want to be on. Are we going to ask questions? Are we going to make comments? Are we going to listen? And that's all. I don't have the answer, but.
So Margaret, and what you stated, let's say if we did ask questions, could it be more along the lines of, clarifications?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
If we needed something. And if you don't mind my saying something further, people might come and speak to us for a couple of different reasons. I think it's an actual fact that I said something in a meeting that offended someone, so they came to public speak to mention that. And I believe there should have been no crosstalk. I think we should have let that person say what they say. I think one member in the committee was a little defensive, so then I wanted to own it. Because I'm thinking if you're on a committee that's a public committee, you may get people coming on here and criticize. I mean, people sometimes criticize what we do. I think it's sort of part of the job. And I think that we just let them and hear them out. But if somebody comes on and they say, I fell down on the sidewalk, or who do I submit a complaint to? If we're prepared and we can give the person information, or if we need to know a couple of things so that we can give them information, it seems to me like that would be useful. That kind of crosstalk, like enough so that if we can refer them properly right away, that timeliness can be helpful. Go ahead, Myra.
I think Margaret had her hand up.
Just simply back to Evan's comment, what does the city council do when they have public speak?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I can speak to both of them. And Independence, when there's a city council meeting, but they also have other meetings of other, I guess I'd call them subcommittees, and depending upon that, there are different rules. Where I attended one subcommittee, they were seeking public comment and discussion, so that was tailored to that specific meeting, and I think it's the purview of the chair. But what I typically have seen for city council meetings is that they allow public speak. It's typically limited to 3 minutes. That's across the school board committee as well. And there isn't crosstalk. In particular, they do have some discussions, but it's not during public speak. It's related to, I think, when they're seeking public comment about a specific topic. Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. I was thinking in a general way that we would probably want to err on that side of what the city council does, and not necessarily and have the expectation that there won't be crosstalk, that we won't be responding to public comments. But maybe if for instance we're seeking information, like that gentleman who came and was needing some information, like being able to gather his information so that we could speak to him later, and then, like you mentioned, and direct him to the correct source of whom he may speak to, since our committee wasn't like the intended recipient of that information. So in long and short, I think we should have the expectation that there isn't crosstalk, but you may be asked specific information so that we can either refer on, clarify, or seek further discussion.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. I asked that question because, like my former city, Worcester, some committees, they allow people to speak. Why? There are some individuals or community members that come, whatever they have, we don't have a solution to them. The solution, whatever question or the issue they are raising at that instant. But then once you allow them to voice out whatever is on their heart, they have that satisfaction. So though as a committee, we may not be able to give them solution, but at least the person has spoken. Whether you do it for me or not, at least I have voiced out. They also get satisfaction. Then the committee will also take it upon themselves to see how best we can address that situation. Because if the person speaks and he or she doesn't get any answer from that moment or even support from the committee, it's like this committee is against me in the community. But that may not be what we are aiming at. Our aim is to make sure there's a good rapport within the community. So I believe that we should give them the opportunity to speak. Whatever videos they have, let them, I mean, it's not easy, but if we can ignore certain things and allow them to voice out whatever is on their heart, then we say, okay, we have listened to you, we'll take it up, you hear from us. Whether they hear from us or not, once they heard something from us that you hear from us, I believe they'll be satisfied to some extent. So let's look at the method or the ways the city handles such things, and then we can also toe the same line.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one more thought. Sorry, I was going to say, I believe there was no precedent at the city council for the video submission.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one more thing. So I hope we do have a bylaws subcommittee, because and then I want to know, am I able to email some thoughts to that subcommittee? And because I don't want to take a whole lot more time in this meeting, and it might come to me later. But one thing I do want to bring up, like, I would strongly advise that we allow public speak to happen for maybe the first hour or even the entire meeting. So if someone pops up and not right at 6 o'clock, the chairs could notice that person, and when it's an appropriate time, ask that person if they'd like to speak. Because about 2 meetings ago, someone showed up and I kept wanting to ask that person if they were here for public speak. And they were on for at least 15 minutes, but we were really deep into a subject and we never did ask that person. And then they zipped off. And I think it would have been nice to know if they were here for public speak. We can't expect people to be like ready at 6, when we first start public speak. That's one suggestion. And then the other thing is, I think I'm going to have specific things to say about the video option, but I'll forward that to the bylaws subcommittee. And then I assume, like, should we have it? And then we're also going to be talking in bylaws about like votes. So it seems like bylaws should be something that it should be by consensus, like everyone on the committee should agree to the bylaws, I think, and not just majority rules. So anyway, that's the thought.
Yeah. So it is on the agenda, a report from bylaws subcommittee, and that might be my taking the liberty of saying that 2 people who talked about exchanging bylaws thoughts, which would be Margaret and myself, would be that committee.
Great.
So maybe we'll take this up further when that agenda item comes up. Want to do that? Okay.
Okay.
And then we would go to announcements. So I've made 2 announcements which had to do with committee membership. Another announcement that I had here, let me bring up my announcements. Okay, I wanted to announce my correspondence with the police department. To remind you, we had started our existence as a committee with Lieutenant Dennis Scribner as our police liaison. So I have his response, and I'd like to read this to you. Okay, he says, to answer your question, I am still overseeing all of our community outreach efforts as well as our liaison offer initiatives. Since my initial involvement and training with the CRC, Officer Mitchell Seekey Jr. has come on board with our department, and he is our designated community resource officer. Additionally, he has undertaken collateral roles as one of our LGBTQ liaison officers, as well as one of our mental health liaisons. Prior to joining the ranks of EPD, Mitch had many years of experience in community policing with the Northampton Police Department, specifically working in collaboration with their housing authority and its residents throughout their city. During Mitch's time with our department, he has received a variety of training, he has participated in a number of municipal meetings, and he has collaborated with various groups and organizations. Based on the nature of Mitch's assignment and his designation as Community Resource Officer, he will be the primary point of contact with the CRC moving forward. Mitch is aware of this, and he's more than happy to avail himself to the CRC. Also, I heard from Officer Mitch Seeke, and he says, I was elated to be given the opportunity to act as one of the liaisons representing the police department and assisting the CRC committee in the very important role you play in our city. Please do not hesitate to contact me if I can be of any help. My position allows for flexibility to serve in a capacity that best suits the needs of our community. It will be a pleasure to meet you and the committee members. I think that he would be happy to come to a meeting. We might want to at least invite him and introduce him and ourselves. We had picked out a February. I just wanted to mention that we had picked out what Wednesday, February 23rd as a next meeting, but we also have Derek Dean who wanted to follow up with us, so it might be that we'd invite Officer Seeke after that. I just wanted to throw all that out there, but this is my announcement, and if we have a sense of inviting Officer Seeke, that'll be a good agenda topic anyway. And yeah.
Excuse me, Rebecca, how do you spell his last name?
It is Cichy.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
I was looking into how to pronounce that myself.
Yeah.
He letting me know it's Seeke.
Seeke. Okay, that's fine. I didn't know exactly. I just wrote it, phonetically.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend inviting him for sure, but maybe not at the next meeting, possibly, just because we may have a lot to do at the next meeting. Possibly.
Right. And way down at the bottom, we might want to consider meeting dates at least after February. Now we have a membership change that could change what we want to do. So that's an announcement. Any other announcements? If not, next on the agenda would be public speak. As again, I'm not seeing the public, so I'll close out that item. The number 8 is reports and follow-up from CRC subcommittees and or CRC members. And I think I emailed everybody saying the thought is let's go through and then we can talk to each other after. So 8A, I have Winterfest.
Yep. Oh, did you want me to talk about it now, or were you going through?
Oh, well, my idea was that we wouldn't discuss it, but that if you have updates, that you could provide those now.
I have updates because it has to, because it's going to be taking place before the next meeting. So February 12th, Saturday, all outdoor events are happening. The indoor events have been canceled due to COVID. Myra and I and anyone else, you are all welcome to come to 50 Payson, the parking lot. I'm going to be providing the table, maybe a tablecloth. And my main question is for the finance subcommittee, which we're going to need at some point. But how do we pay for the buttons that I'm going to get made and the color printing? We might be able to do that for free. And then the snacks, I need to fill out a food permit with Bree Eichstadt as soon as possible because it needs 10 days notice. And she wants me to call her, so I want to call her tomorrow. So we need to decide if we're going to do hot chocolate or some other sort of snack. And then how do we go about paying for that?
My sense about allocated funds.
Oh, and also, there's some language that Myra and I have written for the different things that are going to be on the table. So we should have you guys review it real quick and approve it. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think you'll have much change in it, but yeah. So.
Okay. All right. I realize I said that we should have our discussion after the report. So let me keep my comment until that time.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
we'll talk about all of this.
Okay.
The next item is B. B1 is about the introductory videos. It was one of our action points that we discussed with Derek Dean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess I can say that I tested YouTube and it worked.
Right. Yes. Thank you. So yeah, so that part will be easy. But I think we're going to have to table this for a few months in terms of starting to make it until after Winterfest is over and until some other things get worked out. But I will start thinking of questions. I was thinking I could interview Myra, and Myra could interview someone else, and we could have a little like round the earth we go with interviewing people. And I'm happy to work on it with Easthampton Media. They're very open to collaboration. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds
Working out who pays for the labor of Easthampton Media is something I'm not sure about. Like, he said his contract with the city is still a little unclear to him. So I'll talk with him about how that needs to happen. But
okay. But it sounds like what we'll do is keep that B1 on the agenda and revisit when we're maybe feeling a little less busy.
Yeah.
B2 is forum subcommittee. You might have, maybe Myra has information about undoing racism.
I have a little bit. I sent the members who were in attendance when the mayor was presenting an email because I wanted to maybe get your recollection of what was said, because it wasn't quite clear in the email that she sent in regards to outline about the payment. But I know you said, well, have discussion afterwards. So I did reach out. And in addition, Dr. Lomax did get back from reaching out, and I can quickly share some things that usually I would have written this in a little report format, but it's been a hectic week, so I have not done that. So let me just read a little bit from his email. And he mentioned that Dr. Lomax mentioned that he would be happy to work directly with the CRC to coordinate in-person or virtual follow-up sessions administered by his Third Eye Network. He did say that March is a great time frame for planning purposes, since the alumni you mentioned is a captive audience. He did send the list of registration for the previous session, so that either the CRC or Lindsay from the mayor's office can perform outreach. He did mention for additional workshops that we need to begin planning 3 months in advance to make sure that they can accommodate it, and also have like a proper planning period for logistics, marketing, etc. And I can forward all this on to everyone. But he did ask that we he recommended that we schedule sometime in the first 2 weeks of February to touch base for 90 to 60 minutes. 60 to 90 minutes, which is a considerable amount of time to think about some dates. And there is another person who probably will be working hand in hand with him, Mr. Sean G. Byrne. Okay. So that is the update. My question in regards to the mayor's response was that she was deferring to Dr. Campbell, but then she mentioned that she mentioned the expenditure, which was from our allocated budget of 10,000. So I was hoping that what I recalled her saying is that she would ask for an appropriation for that, for the payment of additional trainings, and that it wasn't to come from our budget. That's what I recall, and I was hoping that others recalled the same thing, because our 10K budget won't pay for additional sessions. If I remember what Dr. Lomax was saying, that they were running around 13K a session. So I will hope that you all will have some comments for clarification after the next item.
Okay. Item 2 after that, and I don't know that anybody has a report, but I want to keep it on our radar. Neighbors getting to know neighbors. I don't think Jan has set up the barbecue yet. Haha. But I just want to I don't think we have a report. Is that correct? No updates, right? Okay. But it's on our radar. Number 3.
Sorry, it's still there. And I just wanted to say that it's timely. So when we're at the Winterfest, we're asking and outreaching to folks that may want to host.
Right, that's true.
Oh, yeah. Great idea. Okay. And we'll get to the consideration. That's number 9. We'll talk. Okay. Number B3, outreach to other groups and organizations, whether public, private, blah, blah, blah. So I took the liberty, because the CRC has this Google account, to create a spreadsheet. And I shared it with everybody except Dr. Eben, but I will share it with him too. And it occurred to me that Margaret and I had worked on some outreach with the mayor's work group. What's it called? I forgot. Mayor's Pledge work group. Okay, so I reached out to Nicole Hendricks and said, do you mind if I take advantage of a list of community businesses and organizations? She said, more than happy to share it. Glad to hear from us. Glad to see things moving. So the spreadsheet includes what I'd had in my list, and it includes organizations from the Mayor's Pledge work group. And I tried to put sections so that you have Easthampton located organizations first. And then we have maybe groups not so far away that consider us as in their service area. And then there are things like the Department of Justice, who's national. But so that is, I intended to make that editable. I think that I did, because it's at least hopefully a start of seeing who and what, but we can add to that. And we can think about outreach. And I see Margaret's hand. Oh, you know what? I don't hear you, though, Margaret. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. When did you send this? Because the spreadsheet, did you send that to us recently?
Let me tell you. Well, recently, yes. Since the time of our last meeting, yes. Let me see if I can find it. But, but at least I can update and say it got sent. If I need to send it again, I'll do that. Let me see if I can look at the correct email account. That'll help. Spreadsheet. Oh, so you know what? So I did a share, and what it does is it sends an email that says spreadsheet shared with you. And that was on January 13th.
Yes. Yes, I have update regarding resource list. Okay, that's very helpful.
And then you see, if you look at that email, there's a little blue button that says open. You ought to be able to click on that. Of course, I can't vouch for what AOL needs, but in theory, you should be able to click on that and access that. If not, Margaret, I could save that as a file to send to you. I just thought it might be nice to put it in a place where people can collaborate, but I can send that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, because maybe clicking on that won't work because you're not a Google account.
Well, I just signed into my Google account on my phone. This is, we're also get to see the ongoing learnings curve for me.
Okay. You know what? Let me say this too, because
In switching over to everything Google.
I'm hoping you're hearing me all right.
I am.
But could you tell me your Google account too, just because when I share it, I might need to give your Google account some rights to look at it too.
Okay.
And if I didn't do that, you might still have trouble seeing it.
Well, we will do. I will deal with you about this later, tomorrow or something. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And
Sounds good.
Rebecca, you said you sent something on the 13th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I got something from you on the 11th, then the 17th.
Well, I've been busy. Let's see.
It says updated resource list as the title.
11th. No, I'm still looking at the wrong email. That just never helps. On the 11th. Actually, yeah, I think that I sent it. I see that I sent it on the 11th and the 13th.
Okay.
So I don't know, but you're right. I did send a share out on the 11th.
Okay. And that was Google Sheets, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I sent a request to you.
Okay.
For
I
that.
will look for that. Okay, I will look for that. So anyway, that's for purposes of reporting that list is there. Hopefully it's accessible, and that way we can begin our work on that. Item C is a report of the Bylaws Committee. So I at least wanted to start off by reporting that I looked for an example from a Human Rights Committee, which is like what we are, adapted some of it to Easthampton and sent it to Margaret. But this was a draft, and there are things like the public speak that needed to be added, and I'm sure other things need to be added. But I think the thought is we'd have a subcommittee, and certainly I think, Emily, if you write to the subcommittee, 3 of us is fewer than a quorum, that will be fine. And eventually, hopefully, if Margaret's agreeable, but we'll have a proposal, and then the committee as a whole would be able to see if it wants to approve or make recommendations or.
Okay.
Okay. Anything to add, Margaret?
No, just by accident, I have it in my palm of my hand right now. I got signed into my Google account. I have no idea. It just luck of the draw. And I'm looking at the list right now. It looks beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Don't ask me to find it again, all right?
Okay, I won't ask you that. Or I'll try to resend links if you need
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. So item number 9 is the committee consideration of the reports that we've just heard. Okay. And one thing that stands out to my mind is, and I didn't look this up, but it's my at least my vague understanding that when we want to request funds that have been allocated for the committee, that we need to go through the mayor's office to request those. So we would submit some kind of explanation of what it is. And set out how to get that paid with Lindsay at the mayor's office. So in terms of these questions about funding, then, so for Winterfest, I would love that to assist Winterfest. So would it make sense if you have kind of a budget for that you submit that to Lindsay?
Okay. Yep.
You know, saying we understand we've got this money allocated. Committee looks forward to participating at Winterfest, and we would like, you know, these funds to reimburse Emily or to purchase this. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, yeah, go ahead. I heard your intake of breath. Did you want to say something, Emily?
Oh, yeah. I guess I was going to say, do we have any precedents for this yet? Have we spent money on anything yet?
Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully, like, I submit a budget, they approve the budget, then I can just put it on my credit card, and then I show them receipts, and then they pay me back. Something like that.
Yes, well, I think make clear we're proposing this budget, and if that looks good, that you're going to personally front that and you'd be looking for a reimbursement. Just make that clear.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay.
Personally. Any other comments on that? I mean, this is off the top of my head.
Yep. Just Emily. Sorry, wait, let me let you. I'll get back to you. Okay, let me pose a question and then you can think about it. Just wondering if, what food items we might have, or never mind. I'll let you chew.
I know. I do want to know, like, I'd love everyone to give their ideas on that, and like,
and if you have things,
the easiest would probably be getting those portable and recyclable containers of hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts, for example. I know you can buy those for coffee from there. Plus, we could also offer coffee, but it's at 2:00, so it's a little late. But no, it's 12 to 2. But like that would be the easiest. We could cover it up so you can't tell that it's Dunkin' Donuts. But if we offered food, I just know that, yeah.
I say make it as easy on yourself as possible. Get the hot chocolate. I'm thinking how with COVID, I don't know if we can find, I'm trying to think of a brand where cookies are wrapped individually, different kinds of cookies. Make it so simple. Cookies and hot chocolate. That's the story, right? I mean, unless anybody can think of anything else, but simple.
Great suggestion.
What?
Well, did you want to share something, Jan?
No, I said that's a great suggestion.
Yeah. And I don't know if there are cookies that are wrapped individually. I'm just, I don't know if anybody can think of that, but
it strikes me. So when my guys were small, the Boy Scouts used to go to where the gazebo is and offer hot chocolate and cookies.
Yep.
It strikes me that they had this like big insulated cool,
Right.
and the concern I have is keeping it hot.
I know. I know.
And I think there's of course you're familiar with sandwich bags, but they had those little like wax paper baggies, and there was like 2 cookies per baggie. So Myra, are any of your kids in scouting? Do you mind my ask?
They used to be, but not here. So no.
Yeah. Mine grew up. Yeah.
we can also buy a large thermos to have Dunkin' Donuts put their thing in of several gallons. We can spend $50 or whatever it might cost, because I think we're going to use it again at the barbecue for lemonade or whatever. Just buy something and do not count pennies, please. Easy.
And I think that's worth it, because I think if it's a cold day, number one, hot chocolate or something hot will be great, but the fact that it'll get cold would be a real thing. So having it insulated.
Right.
would be great.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And Dr. Eben,
Yes, I want to jump from the hot chocolate and all the hot issues and go back to the report number 2,
okay?
especially the getting to know neighbors.
Yes.
And this one, let me just share some. This one is somehow academic, somehow not academic. Beginning of this year, I wrote to about 30 neighbors, 30 of my neighbors. I got one rejected back to me, and then I got one response so far. I'm waiting for the rest though. I asked certain questions. What do you like about your neighborhood? How could we improve our neighborhood? And these 2 questions. One, let me just say, what do you like about your neighborhood? One, when I moved here, it was necessary for accessibility reasons. It became home, so I stayed. I really love that we are on the bike path. It was and it's still the most affordable place I can live. Of course, I think he's talking about the Mahan Trail, which I use almost every day. Then you say, how could we improve the community or your neighborhood? If it were easier to get to know each other, if we had a community garden, kitchen, or space. So I got the response, then I began to think. Not just my community, but then looking at the entire city of Easthampton. It is not a big thing that people are looking for. For us to get to know our neighbors as this committee is supposed to, or is trying to help us, these are some of the things the community members are looking for. So that if we can actually tailor some of the things we do, like the committees trying to let us know, so that we can help the community, parks, gardens, kitchens or spaces that people can just sit and then just congregate and chat or, meet up with somebody. I think these are the opportunities people are creating for us. I mean, looking for. You go to the laundromat downtown. Yeah, people just come stand there, chat, with one another and go home. You could see that they are looking for an ideal place that they can network. So, I mean, the committee's report, I am waiting to get that report. And then I'm also waiting to hear from more of my respondents in the community so that we can better meet their needs at a point. If we cannot solve all, we can at least meet them at a certain level. And then we'll all be happy within the community. So thank you very much, Myra, for your committee's work. I'm waiting to get more reports, and then I can also add mine to it. And we see how best we can help each other.
Oh, that sounds great.
I love that you did that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're already doing the work.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Margaret.
Well, I don't know if we have to go back to one of the agendas to discuss. One of the things I wanted to say is, and I think it's somewhere on our agenda, about us getting to know each other.
Yes, that's number 11. That's number 11.
Number 11, because, Evan, you're brand new. I have never seen Myra in person ever. The last time Jan or Rebecca, Emily, and I were together with each other was probably in 2 years ago, February of 2020, if then.
Right.
But it's been 2 years at least. We've been so it hasn't helped our, and also there's been a number of changes on the committee in terms of people who have resigned. Jan, I don't know if you heard, but Gabby has resigned. So this is our committee, sum total, with Eben obviously being the newest member. And so I'm wondering can we do, for example, a Zoom together? That's not part of Easthampton Media or anything to do. We will not discuss anything about the CRC, but just about ourselves and get to know each other and what our strong suits are and what we like to do and what we did for work or, just whatever. What we do.
Margaret, I really, really like that.
We are allowed as long as we don't discuss any committee work.
So, I would say let's all go out to dinner, but we can't do that. So,
I used to hold Zoom meetings for, we had this special lunch group, in the school. And then when we went all Zoom, I still would hold these meetings that we would have maybe have a little dinner together, but we're doing it, during Zoom time. And
Right.
I think, and it was nice. It was other than.
I think we need that. I think we need that for sure. Because there's been a range of, I don't know, just a range of things over the last several years that have been not so good, difficult, confusing, whatever, and and also nice, but we haven't really coalesced as a group, and now we're a whole new group.
Right.
I tell you what, so when we get to point 11, I'm going to keep running through. But I have a Zoom account that I use for other reasons that's mine, or at least it's under my control. It's not a city account. I could offer a Zoom meeting. It's a Zoom Pro, I think. Okay. But while I'm still considering what we've heard in terms of the reports folks gave, I just on the finance and on the fact of submitting financing requests through the city anyway, I'm rather thinking that for the undoing racism, ultimately, since the request would come from the mayor's office, I'm wondering about also submitting, now how would this be worded? Maybe you've got ideas on how you would talk about it, but to let them know that we would like to do a couple of things. One is the follow-up, right? The follow-up trainings. And it sounded to me like people who already attended that we should be able to follow up at no charge. So, but in terms of scheduling further, we'd probably want to clear it through Lindsay, that we're thinking that as we schedule more undoing racism, that might come from the city's budget the city otherwise had for the undoing racism effort, and at least get that clear. How does that sound?
Good.
It sounds good. I believe, like I said, my recollection was, I believe that is what the mayor posed. Am I incorrect or am I correct in that?
I know. I've been thinking maybe I should listen to the YouTube video. I searched and it's on now. It's on YouTube. That meeting, it was December 28th. I was thinking I should listen to what she says again.
Yeah, and you know what? You know what I noticed? And maybe I've got it here if I can find it. One thing I noticed is that YouTube kind of transcribes, not perfectly, but it transcribes what we say. And so I went and I found the transcript of everything it transcribed, and I put it, where did I put it? I think I put it with my minutes. I might be able to look back because you had that question earlier. Did I not answer you, Myra? Because if I did, I don't even remember what I said. But
I think we were waiting until now for discussion. But for the reasons that you transcribed and put this part as your minutes.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Voted early for you for this position.
I also love that. I still love that shirt that Margaret got about doing nothing. It's just really my favorite. I am so jealous.
I was wearing it today. Shall I bring it out and I could flash it? I'll show it to Evan. I don't know if you saw it, Jan.
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's very good. It's very good.
Oh, yes. And while she's looking for that, I'm going to try to find the right place on the transcript, which I found here. Again, it's not...
So whilst you're searching, I just want to tell Emily it's my first time actually having tea.
Oh,
For you.
So yay, I'm having a group tea.
Here it is. Hang on.
Did you know that January 16th was National Nothing Day?
Really? Wow.
Here I am. Just do nothing.
That's wonderful. I'd like to say to Dr. Eben, so the joke's on me. Margaret and I attended the Undoing Racism workshop, which we highly recommend.
And we still haven't been able to really hear about. Are we allowed to talk about that on a dinner call or no?
Sure. We can talk about anything we want. That was our personal experience.
We the two of us personally went there, right? So that's not, as long as let's not talk about how it translates into what the committee's going to do. We'll just talk about Margaret's experience and my experience. How does that sound? Because then it's not a committee thing.
I will say I saw the registration list that was sent from Lomax Campbell, and I wish that you guys had been identified as on the CRC, like the identity, working for the city, whatever the various things were listed, but you guys were not listed.
Well, if they didn't list CRC, then we're even freer to talk about it, right?
Right, that's true.
So.
Yep.
In that training, there was one civilian. Everybody else was an employee or on the city council, or the CRC was a committee member of some kind, or an employee. And then there was one woman who attended who was neither of those.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I guess it was just a documentation thing. It just wasn't documented on that page. The other page had all of the, roles and identities listed, but your session had a lot of blank spots. So anyway, whatever.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm probably looking for the wrong meeting.
What are you looking
12:20.
for?
Oh, I was trying to. Oh, actually, I have some notes. Maybe that will help me. I'm trying to remember things from the video. Let's see. So the mayor gave us a document, and I actually made notes on it. So that. So the city got a grant for a new data collection system. Let's see. Support. There's data, school spirit. Yep. So I'm looking at the questions. Margaret, you always ask good questions. Thank you.
I can't say that I remember what the question is you're trying to answer.
Well, I might not find it. I might just not find it with any clarity the question we're trying to answer has to do with funding allocations. So she's clear that there is funding there is $10,000 for the CRC from now to June 30th. Community engagement, expenditures, and partnerships. So that certainly should cover Winterfest. Now, let me see. I'm going to just do a word search on undoing racism, but I don't know that she really said anything clear about that. So we asked, do we have additional plans for additional people to do undoing racism training? And she said yes. And she was telling us that each seat is $540. She says funding to date has come under economic development, and she said it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. So now that makes it sound like even if we're involved, that if we help pick a date or whatever we help do, that's under economic development. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. I wasn't sure if I dreamt it or actually, no, I'm sure I didn't dream it, but thank you.
No, I rather thought the 10,000 was like for our forum. It should support our efforts in the community, but yes, hopefully the city is supporting Undoing Racism. So I agree with that. Yeah. That's me. Okay. Any other discussion on Winterfest? We're going to table the videos. Forum, let's see, outreach to other groups. I guess what I'd want is that everybody have that spreadsheet. Bylaws, I think that's in process and there's more work.
Right.
To be done.
Also, maybe discussion of when, I just changed my email, of when we may want to meet Dr. Campbell for planning. I've forgotten what he mentioned. I think I just...
He'd like earlier February. And is that with the whole committee?
Maybe it could be the forum subcommittee or, folks that are interested. Let me just hit back to my email so that I can... Oh, that's a previous one. Sorry. So maybe we can think the forum subcommittee was myself, Jan, and Emily. Mm-hmm. So it's the first 2 weeks of February. I don't know if that works for...
Let's see.
Okay, so do we agree that it's okay for the forum subcommittee to meet with them, or would you like it to be the whole committee?
I think the others should vote, not me.
Well, I'm okay with your doing that work if you're willing to do that. Mm-hmm. Do you have a preference whether you three manage that or whether you want to? I think to meet the whole committee in earlier February, we would need to pick another meeting date.
Sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't have time actually until after February 15th because I have a huge deadline for my other volunteer job. So,
if it's the following week after that, Emily, I have a school vacation week, so I'm a whole lot more flexible.
Right.
Is that the week of the 21st of February that you're talking about, Jan?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're supposed to have our CRC meeting at 6 on Wednesday, the 23rd.
Right.
Do we want to keep that then, if that's the week we're looking at anyway?
Mm-hmm.
That's good for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really, is there any chance, Myra, you could write Lomax back and ask him how he will fill those 60 to 90 minutes? Because then we'll know if everyone should be on the call. Or
okay, I can.
Otherwise, we'll have to have 2 meetings, in February.
I can gladly do that. And then what I was thinking, just because everyone's schedules may clash, it might be easier to meet with the small group. But right. I will ask about that. Also, see what dates may be open for him, and then see where we can plan from there.
And I also shouldn't say that whether or not everyone should be on the call. Take out that word should. I don't like that word. I shouldn't have said it. I would say if everyone wants to be on the call, Yeah.
I mean, I would like to be on the call. I have more flexibility, Myra, if you want to let me know. Mm-hmm. Daytime is a whole other time for me that I'm not, I have a lot of things scheduled, but I do not have to punch a time clock at all.
Okay.
And actually, like we've got all these different subcommittees, and Myra and I wanted to talk about like other subcommittees, like being in name, like outreach subcommittee and stuff. So I think I should actually step off of the forum subcommittee, because I would like to be on the outreach subcommittee. And Margaret has been through Undoing Racism, so maybe she should be on the forum subcommittee.
I would do that, yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so one thought I had, you see, and you'll find out from Dr. Lomax, but in terms of who wants to be there, see, once you have a quorum meeting with him, then probably it's got to be a meeting, and we have to notice it.
Right.
But if there's 3 of you, that's small enough.
Yeah.
Evan, would you like to be on that? Would you like to be on that call and meet Dr. Lomax Campbell?
Yeah, if I'm available, I can join at that meeting. So, I'm available to join.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your time? I mean, do you do work during the day?
Yes, I work during the day, but at times I teach for only an hour and a half, and the rest of the day I'm off. So depending upon the time, I can join you. Yeah.
Great. Great. You don't have to be on the committee. I just didn't know if you wanted, I mean, you can decide what committee you might want to be, subcommittee, but I thought you might want to.
Well, if more of us would like to join so that it would be a noticed meeting, I mean, I don't mind that. We just have to make sure to set it up properly. So as soon as you have 4 meeting with Dr. Campbell, then you're a quorum. So,
Okay.
Now, usually, Dr. Eben, we've been meeting in the evening starting at 6, and we used to always do Tuesdays. We scheduled a couple Wednesdays. Maybe I don't know Myra's schedule for Tuesday now. Since Gabby has withdrawn, then the person who could not do Tuesdays has withdrawn.
She's resigned.
Yeah, resigned. That's the better word. So, how are your Tuesdays now, Myra?
My Tuesdays I'm available Tuesdays, every Tuesday.
Okay.
And how about Wednesday?
Same, I'm also available Wednesdays. Yeah, so
maybe
the 2 days favor me.
Maybe we can do what Myra can do as long as we know enough in advance. How does that sound?
Well, I've been given, after saying that Tuesday is free for me, I will now potentially be mandated. I'll be taking a course, rather, which may potentially be mandatory every Tuesday until June 14th, from the hours of 4:45 to 7:45.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just, as of last night, totally relating to that mandated thing, I'm covering for someone who, it's on Tuesday. So I was going to be saying that now Tuesday didn't work for me. So
how are Wednesdays?
Wednesdays work.
Wednesdays
Yes.
Wednesdays we're going to work right now for Myra until.
Well, look, the kids know how to swim. Maybe they just won't swim well anymore.
Okay.
Oh, gee.
But if we'd like another February meeting, so for example, February 9th.
Is this a Zoom meeting where we just get to know each other, or is it?
No, this is a Dr. Lomax Campbell meeting is what I'm still thinking about.
Okay.
Do you want us think about meeting at 6:00 February 9th in order to allow for whatever Dr. Campbell wanted to share, and that way we can include Dr. Eben and as many, instead of worrying about whether you're going to have a quorum there or not, if it's a meeting.
Okay.
I probably cannot do the 9th, so if you all can, that's okay with me, but I just can't do the 9th.
Okay. And what I'll ask him, like you mentioned, is what he had in mind, and then what preferred format maybe he wanted to be. Maybe he would like it to be, a smaller discussion where it's not open to the public for whatever. Don't know.
Right.
I have no idea, but I'll ask him his preferences.
Okay, well then I would just caution that if it's with the subcommittee, which doesn't have to be public, then you can have 3 meet with them, but once it's 4,
Right.
we can't, it's a quorum, it violates open meeting law. So somehow, Dr. Eben, you might be training in open meeting law and things like that. But we have to be careful about those things.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So perhaps, Myra, if you do the outreach and decide what the meeting's going to be, then you can let us know. I mean, we can still work on agendas outside the meeting.
Will do.
Great.
Okay. So I'm I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I said it's 7:30.
Right. I was going to note the time. So some of you may feel that you need to leave. Remaining agenda items were either follow up on the incident of Native American Heritage Month or consider what our policy should be. And then the getting to know each other, that was one of those things. So maybe what I'll do with getting to know each other, that strikes me as easier, that I can propose. Since we can do agendas anyway, I can propose dates for a Zoom if that's how we want to do that. 12 is review of the subcommittees. Do we want to appoint more?
Maybe we can quickly talk about that. I don't think it will take too long.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
We all agree that we should get to know each other better more.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
Hey, Myra, do you want to share that list of the subcommittees?
Yes,
Or-
I can do that if that's where we're moving to. Rebecca, were you going on to the next number 12?
I'm happy to do number 12, but out of respect, I don't want to be forgetting about concerns about things that happen in the community, such as Native American Heritage Month.
Right. I know. So,
Yeah.
like, I can't remember how we left it last month, but I'm really fine. I almost think it's better to post a letter than not. So I'm fine with whether it was Margaret's version or Becca's version or like, the whatever. I know I had sent out thoughts about Becca's version and maybe some about Margaret's, but we hadn't. Had you guys come up with a final?
No.
I think that what we had hoped, we would hope that Myra would take a look and that we could get Myra's input on it. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with going with what Myra decides. How does that sound to you?
Yes, we've just put the dirty dishes in your sink.
And just to think I voted early for you. Okay.
Well, I mean,
so I can do that. I mean, I was happy with both, all of them. At the time, I realized I didn't have a lot of time to give it attention. But if you would like me to make another draft, and then I know it's delayed, but it'll maybe not be denied, and finally we'll get it out there at our next meeting.
Well, one decision on it was, I expressed the concern, and this just has to do with my attitude as a human being. But when somebody puts negative words somewhere, I don't really like to repeat them and give them more airplay. So, and there are pros and cons to repeating those words, but I feel like, the particular words aren't even the point. Really, the point is that you have a display about a tragedy in history that we all need to know about, and there are, let's say, challenges. I don't know what to say, but so I put it in my email. I put those kind of thoughts, but it could be that somehow they can all go together. And so my biggest concern was just I didn't want to be repeating
Right. I got you. I feel like you don't want to do a double harm or give more attention to it. So I think the greatest thing that we did, well, not the greatest thing, but I think our actions of reviewing it and making it public is that it became part of public record and acknowledged. And I think that is what was the intended outcome. But I can merge the letters and then bring it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Myra. Thank you. Sorry to dump it all on you.
And Eben, this was an exhibit about, I think it was about a couple of things, but one of the pieces was all of the children that were removed from the reservations in the United States and forced to go to residential schools and removed from their families. They could not go to any other school in the United States. They had to go to these residential schools, and all the children who were abused and died there from illness, from neglect and abuse, etc. So this was the exhibit. So, and there were some, things like, we treated the Indians great, kind of, not exactly, but the Native Americans. And so, but that was the exhibit, was about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for history, Dr. Eben, I can share the presentation that was shared earlier.
Okay.
I should have it somewhere in a drive, so I can gladly share that with you later.
And let me make sure. So one thing I might do is just send a welcoming message so that you all have all your email address.
Okay.
That'll help Myra be sure she has your email address.
Great.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay. So Myra, thank you for paying attention to Native American Heritage Month. Number 11, I'll do a follow-up on inviting people to Zoom. I think that we can email about dates. So number 12 is a subcommittee. So if you have proposed subcommittees.
Okay. Yes, I'll just list them and some of maybe the thoughts of or what the role would be, and maybe some may be merged, but we can just quickly go over what might be needed, and perhaps you have additional things that you'd like to add. Obviously, one of the established subcommittees is the Forum Subcommittee, which is tasked with community events and educationals. And an arm of outreach, not sure exactly what this might be, but like an outreach either coordinator or a subcommittee, and that the role would to liaison to existing committees, organizations in the community. So it's not necessarily that one person. Maybe I should just list them and then we could talk about it. Okay. And the next was bylaws that subcommittee could create a living document about public speak, votes, definition, or rather defining the roles of different officers, and perhaps having an onboarding or welcoming committee. We did speak about, and this is finance and budgeting. So folks that would help with the budget. Apparently neither of us are numbers people.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I just tell all my flaws just right. And not sure where this would fall, but digital communication. Not sure if that's a part of outreach or if we need a specific. I know that Rebecca, you had worked on the Facebook, but like.
I'm doing a great job. I'm doing a great job at ignoring Facebook. Now, if we have a statement about the Native Americans, that would definitely need to go there.
Right.
So those were some of the thought up things that might need to happen. Now, mind you, we're only 6, so these things would have to ebb and flow, right? Would have to ebb and flow, not necessarily existing at the same time or being active. So
Actually, I just thought of another subcommittee maybe we should have, the recruitment subcommittee or membership subcommittee. But anyway, yeah.
Well, there's an interesting, at least somebody with a role, right? So I'm out in Easthampton community and meet somebody in Easthampton. And by the way, we all have to be from Easthampton. Then we can tell the recruitment person, hey, you know.
Right.
Aren't we supposed to be getting some staff?
Oh, right.
That'll be down the
Getting
road.
some staff.
Right.
So we do these, you know,
Right.
we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, we have pie in the sky. That's what we're hoping for, right?
Well, and that the staff person could be very well positioned. This is a committee created by the mayor, and that says as its terms that the mayor appoints people. So to have somebody in that building
Can be assigned.
can be a good thing.
Well, I think the hot chocolate and the cookies might go far.
On the buttons. We're gonna order the I think that is such a great idea. I don't know, get 100 buttons. How many buttons? You're gonna have them forever.
Just 11,
Oh,
Margaret.
the buttons were just for us, Margaret.
I thought you were gonna give away buttons. I thought you were gonna give away buttons.
Oh, no, they were just going to say, you know, community relations committee was to identify who we were. And then when we're out and about, we would wear it.
See, if you can't tell, I'm fond of brooches and things.
See, but I'm suggesting that maybe when you order 100 of something, you know what I mean?
I know, right.
But you know that might be an I love Easthampton button or something like that. Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, like along the lines of what Ethan was coming up with, like the
I love you,
what makes a good neighbor. Like maybe it should say some statement like that instead. But yeah. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of giving out the CRC button to everybody. It was just for us. Sorry.
Sorry, that's where I went with it when I heard it, that this way we could publicize ourselves.
Right.
But
right.
again, I think we shouldn't publicize ourselves until we can say what we do.
We'll get rolling, and then we'll have a bumper sticker.
You know, I have been keeping it a very well-kept secret that I'm on this committee, because I can't get past a sentence. Like, what does the committee do?
We're soon to hand out hot chocolate and cookies.
Right.
You know, we're somewhere between overseeing the police department and delivering, fuel oil to homes. I mean, somewhere like, what do we do? I don't know. We may,
as we go forward, for forum, subcommittee, etc., education of the community. I mean, we should somehow have programs on Native American history, especially in our region. You know, because there's education that's a piece. There's education that's what it says to me. Let's have more education about that history.
Yes.
Black History Month is February. Yep.
You know, I'll be there.
I thought Black History was 365.
Yes,
it is. You're absolutely right.
It's
right.
absurd. It's absurd. Yeah, really. But we can have a thing that we're going to do. We believe it should be 365 days a year, just like, women artists or women, you know what I mean? We can't be artists or writers or whatever. It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep it simple.
I'll look forward to inviting you all out to different things that I find. And I was going to say, so that we don't overspend time, is that I can create maybe a Google form. Sorry, Margaret. Okay. And list the subcommittee, and then you can write, I am interested. right?
Yeah.
And then that way we know which one we're interested in.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then I
That'd
can
be
share the results.
that'd be good.
Let me ask you technically, would you like me to begin a spreadsheet on the city Google that we have here, Myra, and share it to everybody with editing rights, and then you can write on it and everybody will have access, and it'll be a city. Does that sound good?
That sounds good to me. So we had forum, outreach, bylaws, onboarding, finance, digital communication. And I'm not sure if you've moved forward with the membership one, Emily.
And
I think we want staff to handle it.
and I think there will be a brief description of each of the
Yeah.
Yes.
committees. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. Okay. Well, I feel like there's ever so much more we could talk about, but maybe we should talk about next meeting dates.
Right.
So we had previously set aside February 23rd at 6 o'clock. Is that still good? We're good.
Yes.
Moving forward, like if so, Barbara, the city clerk, likes to know, okay, when are you meeting? Like every X Wednesday each month, right? Do we feel like we can say something like every such and so Wednesday per month?
Okay,
And is Wednesday, yeah, your kids can swim, so Wednesday might even be the better day.
Shame.
I gotta love them.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I forgot what Wednesdays we were staying away from. I think there was
Oh, city
or something.
the first and
council,
third, wasn't it the first and third one?
city council meetings, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're sticking with maybe the second Wednesday.
Oh, the last Wednesday of the month.
Oh, okay, last.
Well,
Wednesday.
so February 23rd is the last Wednesday of February. So the next
Yeah.
thing that we have to think about is March.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do we?
March.
30th.
March also has a 30th. Okay.
Yeah.
30th.
I can do the 23rd, the fourth Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you want to do the fourth Wednesdays is what we're planning on doing, or for now?
That would be okay with me if it's okay with folks. March 23rd, April 27th, May 25th.
Yes, that sounds good to me.
All right.
And then hopefully, our committees will keep rolling, and that way we can meet somehow we met twice a month for quite a while, didn't we? We had a lot to do, but we
Right,
did
but-
start off with once a month.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we get our subcommittees going, then then a lot more work gets done. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, for the Zoom gathering of us, what time are we looking at? I mean, I have a lot of flexibility. Do we want to do like a doodle poll or something, or come up with some times, or is it for people like Myra and Emily and Jan? I know it'll need to be after 5.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think Jan and I both have the same week off in February.
Oh, you have a week off from
I
the
still work my other job,
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard
the
work.
21st through the 25th, except for Jan's other job. Is that when? That's the week off, 21st through the 25th.
I could do
I
that.
have a question. Do we want to meet like at 4:30 on the 23rd and just spend like an hour and a half together and then do our meeting?
That
That's
not a bad idea.
Will you be zoomed out at the end, or does that sound okay?
Hey, Emily, we used to be at work though.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Hey, I'm a champ. I've been on Zoom since 3 o'clock.
Oh, man.
You did some break.
Straight.
yeah.
I need.
Anyway, I was just trying to consolidate our meeting
Oh, I
time
know.
and not another evening. That was,
I think that's a cool idea, Margaret.
Yeah, I like that idea. Things are so crazy at work right now. I'm not sure, and I work until 4:30. I usually work till 5, but I could get off at 4:30. I could be home by 5 and turn on the computer. So I could be a little later.
I mean, I think an hour probably isn't quite enough.
Right.
Do we want to do 5 and maybe have our meeting start at like 6:15 or 6:30 or something like that?
That sounds good. Because like by then, like the Winterfest will be over. We can just give a little report out on that. We'll hear a little bit more about the Lomax information. Yeah. Or, also Sunday evenings are good for me. I could do like 4 to 6 on a Sunday.
So could I.
Would a Sunday work? Another thing about the 23rd is that I'd already invited Derek Dean because he wanted to follow up with us.
Okay, then forget that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. But maybe a Sunday from 4 to 6. I can do a doodle poll. That's cool.
That's good with me too.
So
Sundays-
I can propose a bunch of Sundays and let people pick.
That sounds good.
Okay.
The Sundays good for you, Myra?
Sundays are fine in the evening, and during the daytime, I'm usually doing something.
Right. Cooking. Yeah.
That too.
Okay, good.
Have to
Okay.
make the soups and the stews.
So just to be clear, February 23rd is still our next meeting date. We'll set the fourth Wednesdays of the month as our regular meeting date. I will send a doodle poll around for our get-together where it's not committee business and go from there. And if that all sounds good,
That also.
is there anything else before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I guess I just want to know, like, the blurb that Myra and I are going to have on a little poster at Winterfest. Do you guys want to just trust us, or should we share it really quick?
I'd like to hear a little bit of it.
What's your idea?
Um,
I'm sure I trust you, but
I know it was pretty short, but Myra, do you have it written down? Didn't we write it on that document?
I don't think I have it written down. I think it's in your document, a Word document.
My document? Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Oh.
well, if it's a problem, we'll trust you.
We just trust you.
Oh, I found it. Okay. Yes, I found it. Oh my God, I was so much more organized than I thought. Okay. It says, do you want me to read it or do you want me to share it?
Just read it.
Wait a minute. Meet the Community Relations Committee, CRC, and get some complimentary goodies to go. Because we hadn't decided what it was going to be. Share your experiences of community in Easthampton and meet your neighbors. The CRC seeks to provide ongoing events and educational forums that support an inclusive climate. ... Come tell us about welcoming initiatives that you would like to see take place in Easthampton. So this is it's not going to be on a little poster necessarily there. It's what has to get posted on the Winterfest advertising page, because there's a little, and I have to send it to the woman who's in charge of that. I'm tempted though to change it to what even said, what do you like about your neighborhood? What would you like to improve? Come tell us and get some complimentary goodies.
Well, the other thing is, I'm wondering if you had pieces of paper where people could write, suggestions for the CRC, or what would you like the CRC? What can you imagine the CRC doing? I'm sure people have all kinds of ideas potentially, but just a slip of paper, and then you just collect the slip back and have pens there for people just.
Right. Yeah, so we could totally collect them there. And then also we were going to print up these little cards that have our email address on it on one side, and on the other side, a QR code that they would scan, and it would take them directly to the city's webpage of our committee. And then from there, can they submit something? Is there something on our city webpage to submit a comment?
That's only the incidents form, I think.
Oh yeah, that's only the
But okay, sorry, now it's 8:00, but I did have a thought the other day, and I meant to share it. Sorry. Just like the form that we're creating for ourselves, maybe that QR code could be like what Dr. Eben mentioned, like, what do you like about your, see, we're already stealing your ideas. Like what initiatives would you like to see? And it could be like an open response type of thing, and we could get it digitally or have people do the paper one, since we have the acrylic stand for folks that might not want to touch something. But yeah, that was just one other idea.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was thinking the QR code to the website, well, it will be informative, but it may not necessarily get us the feedback we want.
I know, it's not interactive enough. Exactly. Right.
Sorry to bring it up in the hour.
So,
we might want design help. There's something called Google Forms where people can write on it and then submit it, and it comes into our Google account. The question is getting the tech people like Noah to put it on the city website on our page, that kind of a thing. I feel like that should be doable, but I also know that I can't just break into the city system and do it. I need Noah or somebody. But so that might be a thought down the road for the subcommittee on technology, and what did we call it? Digital communications.
yeah.
Communications.
Yeah.
I think with Google, once we have the Google form and there's an email with that Google form, whatever response is, that one email can be able to retrieve all and then analyze it, and we get the feedback from the people. So that is easy. And maybe you can, CRC, a Gmail account for CRC, it should be possible to collect that data at the end, yeah.
Yeah, you just gave me a wonderful idea, which is to ask Noah to put a link on the website that would go to the Google form somehow.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that might be what you were saying. But yeah, I was thinking, gee, how can they fill it out right there on our page? But a link.
Well, I was just I'm not sure how. I'm not the tech person. I have done forms before, but I was hoping that we could have a QR code that leads directly to the form.
Right.
So that way people can scan it and then just fill it out.
Right.
Okay.
Then, so we don't have to do the IT part first.
Yeah.
Right.
But going forward, it might be helpful too, so that it's not a one-off, collection of information.
That's
Now
possible.
it started a whole nother discussion, and we were supposed to be saying goodbye. I am sorry.
And one last piece before we go. One of the things I had was I wanted to say that I had a suggestion that we limit time, we put time limits on discussions. We've done a really good job. Can choose to continue or we're going to meet from 6 to 8. I just not think it's going to be 7:30.
Yeah. Well,
We should have an allocated time in the agenda.
I said, yeah. Remember the role of a timekeeper? We could consider voting one in. But anyway, I think we had a lot on that agenda, and that you all did a great job, honestly.
Yes. Thank you.
So, but yes, I don't mean to keep you too late. So on all of that, are we good to adjourn?
Yes.
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 Okay.
I second adjourning.
Okay. So was that
I'd
Myra
like to
saying?
make a motion.
Myra's motion. Myra's motion and Margaret's second.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Where's my roll call here? I have to get. Okay. I've got the list. I got all of you on here. Emily Britton,
Yes.
Margaret Kirstein,
Yes.
Jan Norman,
Yes, indeed.
Myra Oyedemi,
Yes.
Ebenezer Afarikuma,
Yes.
and Rebecca, that's me. I say yes. So on that, we adjourn. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.